I'm right now, to be honest, whatever, black thugs are the new white supremacy.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the modern day KKK. And we're not talking about white people. We're not talking about white supremacists. We're talking about that same group of people that you just seen in that clip in the beginning of the video. It has gotten out of hand to a point where now in DC, they're starting to declare an emergency to be able to handle this situation with these teenagers. They have gone out of control. So we're going to watch a couple of news clips and then we'll talk about it.
We're getting a new look at the suspects in a series of armed robberies around the district. Take a look. This happened last week along 4th Street Southeast. The suspects threatening the victim with a knife and demanding their AirPod, their phone, their shoes, and school supplies. Look how young they are. The victim refused and began to yell. One suspect pulled out a gun. They made off with the items and ran away. That's just the latest in teen violence causing chaos across D.C., a city under siege tonight. Fox 5's Jacqueline Matter has more on the response from local leaders.
Jim, people are calling the crime out of control, and teens seem to be at the center of many of these incidents. Now, city leaders are asking some of the same questions we've been asking as well. What will it take to stop it, and who's responsible? 2 teens now in custody after 10 separate carjackings across the district, 7 of them at gunpoint. It's just the latest in a string of carjackings plaguing D.C.
It's a hot mess.
Over the weekend, a young boy shot and killed in a botched carjacking on Saturday night along D Street Northwest. We've since learned the 13-year-old had several prior carjacking offenses. And a 15-year-old girl arrested last week for a carjacking and fatal crash on Brentwood Road was allowed to go home with an ankle monitor despite her priors for robbery and theft, according to the Washington Post. We're told she was allowed to go home because DYRS said there was no space for her. The carjackings happening just a day later.
What residents don't want is finger pointing amongst public safety officials who are charged with holding to account these individuals who commit these crimes.
But that's exactly what is happening. Local leaders now pointing fingers as to who's to blame. The mayor says judges are being too lenient with repeat offenders and kids need to be in secure detention centers. Youth rehab services say they don't have enough space. In fact, Fox 5 found that the agency has 88 beds, yet the facility currently has 94 juveniles in custody. Meanwhile, council members have their own questions.
Is that we need to be clear. Did the court misjudge, or did the prosecutor misjudge, or is it the DYRS is not functioning effectively? That's not clear. And we need to figure out who and what agency is responsible and hold them accountable for the decisions that they're making.
D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser declared a public emergency on what she is calling out-of-control juvenile crime in her city. Could Mayor Scott make a similar declaration here in Baltimore? Fox 45's Maxine Stryker looks into how Baltimore's crime compares to D.C. and how one expert thinks Mayor Scott will respond.
In the nation's capital, violent crime is spiking among young people.
Young people need to have consequences and boundaries.
And the mayor is taking action.
When young people are involved in violent crime, when they're 12, 13, 14, that means that those children need serious intervention.
D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser declared a public emergency order Monday in hopes of addressing youth crime. The mayor calling it an imminent threat to the health, safety, and welfare of residents. In Washington, D.C., in the first 9 months of 2023, there were 458 juvenile arrests for robbery, carjacking, homicide, and assault with a deadly weapon, a 10% increase from the year before. The mayor is calling on the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services to increase capacity for youth in their custody and for real-time monitoring of GPS devices upon their release. She's advocating strongly for tougher consequences and pushing back against the lenient laws.
We believe that more kids, as you've heard me say many times, if they've been, arrested for robbery after robbery, shouldn't be in a group home, in my opinion. They should be in a secure, detained space.
Meanwhile, in Baltimore City, youth crime also persists with little to no repercussions. Earlier this month, police say a 12-year-old boy used a gun to rob a 31-year-old man of his bike. The boy was arrested and charged with armed robbery and taken to the Department of Juvenile Services, but within hours, he was released. Within 48 hours of his release, documents show the juvenile was locked up again and charged with 2 more armed robberies. That same November day, police say a Baltimore woman was assaulted and robbed by 2 juveniles, the youngest 12 years old, both released within hours from DJS. Car thefts by juveniles are up 166% in the city. We reached out to Mayor Brandon Scott's office asking, given the state of juvenile crime in Baltimore right now, is this something you would consider? What measures are you taking to address juvenile crime?
If you say we've got a youth crime crisis, then the perception is things are out of control.
Political analyst John Deedy says he wouldn't expect to see the same action from Mayor Scott.
In an election year, the idea of calling for a youth crisis and all this stuff, I think politically they may feel this could panic the public more than anything.
Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.
There you have it. There you have it. Now, the irony about what's going on in these cities like Baltimore, D.C., Chicago, L.A., St. Louis, all of these cities, they have one thing in common, and they all are ran by Democrats. These liberal cities are being ran to the ground by these Democrats. Most of them have black leadership, and most of them are a black city. And it's crazy now. You have, these mayors that are, complaining, but they're actually the reason that they're in this position that they're in right now. All of that talk about defunding the police, all of that talk about how the police is racist, all of that talk about progressive criminal reform has gotten you to this place that you're in right now. Right now. See, all of these policies that these leftists and these Democrats preach for, they sound good on paper. They sound real good when you're thinking about it. But in practice, it is the worst thing that you can possibly do. Absolutely worst thing that you can possibly do. So in their idea of trying to create a utopian type of society, they actually implement policies that take this place into being a dystopian type of society. And I mean, look at that first clip in the beginning of this video where that girl was walking down the sidewalk and these thugs, these hooligans pulled up on her like the military. They're so militant now. These criminals have gotten militant. The guy he had a shotgun or whatever, a long arm gun, and looking around in the streets to see if anybody was coming. And then whenever a car approached him, he pointed at him and told him to keep it pushing. These kids are militant. And there's nobody to blame, of course, but the parents. We all know these politicians are to blame as far as what it's done to society as a whole, but the behaviors of the kids itself are due to lack of parenting. So now you have kids that are out of control running the city to the ground. But you got these politicians now sitting there and pointing fingers at each other so they don't have to hold nobody or hold themselves accountable. And they want to point fingers now so they're not held responsible because it's an election year. They're not going to take responsibility for that. But there, it's easier to point at, hey, it was the mayor, hey, the police chief, hey, the city council. Easy to do that. But when you do that, there's no solutions that's going to happen. Right? So you're going to be right back into the same cycle of these criminals running these cities to the ground. So it's almost like the Democrats create these chaos on their own, on purpose, so they can have the solution at the end to say, hey, you know, we fixed the problems. We were the ones that came up with the solution here. Absolutely hilarious. And then they also have policies in these liberal cities where the citizens can't even protect themselves. So just like that lady in the beginning of this video, if she was to defend herself and shoot those kids, she would be going to jail. She would go to jail. That's how they do it. It's absolutely insane. Insane. She would go to jail for defending herself because, one, the politicians are not doing it. And then, two, they've ruined the police department so the police can't do it. So you got vigilantes and everyday citizens having to protect themselves. And then whenever they do protect themselves and they take extreme measures to protect themselves, you lock them up. Makes no freaking sense whatsoever. But my solution is, forget the kids, hold the parents accountable. Hold the parents accountable. Right? Lock these parents up. I'm telling you, when a juvenile, somebody that is under 17, commits a crime, the parents should have to pay for that crime as well. That's the only way this is going to get fixed. So all these losers that are having kids, they're either going to stop having kids or they're going to actually raise these kids, which is great. We'll take either one. We'll take either one. Right? That's the only solution. That is the only solution. Because you got these cities now locking these or detaining these kids or bringing them in and, you know, booking them and then releasing them right back into the streets again. What do you think is going to happen? You think the kids are going to stop? No, they just got away with it. So why would they stop? Why would they stop if they got away with it? Make that make sense. And not only did they get away with it, they got away with it without even having to hide what they did. It's not like they were sneaking around and there was not enough evidence, blase, and they got let go free. No, there's video, there's evidence. They're probably even confessing. But they still let them out. So what does that do? It enables these kids to go do it again and again and again and again. So either got to lock them up or somebody going to put them to sleep, permanent sleep. Right? So insanity. We have got to get these modern day Ku Klux Klan members out of these streets. And it's not the white people. It is these black thugs, these hooligans. These are the worst group of people in America today. You got these black thugs who ruin our image, and you got these white liberals that enable these black thugs. Nothing but chaos. I cannot stand them. I cannot stand these two groups of people whatsoever. I don't give a damn what your skin color is. I don't give a damn what you went through in the past. If you are a criminal today and your record man, I'm so frustrated because it's really, really, really upsetting, man. Absolutely upsetting. And everybody knows what the hell is going on. But for some reason, these politicians don't want to do nothing about it. Lock these kids up. I don't know why they're so scared to lock these kids up. Lock their ass up. Throw the keys away. You want to act like an adult? You get adult consequences. You want to pretend like you grown? You finna get treated like you grown. Right? That's how it should work. That's how it should work. And if you got the parents that's enabling this, hey, mom and dad, usually there's no dad. So, hey, baby mama, you going to jail too. You going to jail too. So, anyway, man, let me know what you guys think. Let's talk about this video in the comment section. Make sure to like the video, guys. YouTube does not know to push this video in the algorithm if you don't leave a like button. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to hit the subscribe button with the notification bell so you get reminded every time I bring a brand new video. See you on the next one. Peace.